Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Hello, Tarja. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. So, Tarja, let us know about yourself, where you live, and what you do.
Well, I'm based here up in the north, so in Helsinki, Finland. So, we still have snow on the ground, ice on the ground. And I've been working with energy and clean tech startups and different sort of financing aspects for over 20 years. I founded 2 companies in this space. And the company where I'm now is called Action Energy Finance, which I founded about a bit more than 2 years ago.
All right. So, where did the idea for your business came from?
The current company, the business idea came from the problems we were facing in my previous company, which I guess is probably rather typical way of, if you sort of a second time founder or a third time founder, you sort of like end up solving problems that you bumped into along the way. So my first company, which I was a co-founder, so we started almost 20 years ago, Clean Tech VC. I mean, that time, even the term clean tech wasn't really even around. So anyway, sort of early stage, so investment company investing into early stage startups in the Nordics, in the clean tech and energy area. And I did that for 13 years. It started as a small advisory company, developed into a VC fund management company, and then that evolved into a listed investment company. So we ended up listing the company in the Nasdaq First North in Helsinki and Stockholm. So it was a listed early stage clean tech startup, early stage investment company. These days, I mean, the company still exists, but it's focused around one of the portfolio companies. But anyway, the problem that I oftentimes encountered during that company was that the portfolio companies that we were working with, they were technology companies, and oftentimes either we or they tried to change the operational model to be more like a service business model, so technology as a service. And when it comes to energy or sort of sustainability, clean tech, so forth, oftentimes there is some hard asset that you need to get out to the markets and to be used by the clients, whether it's a heat center, PV panels, whatever it is, EV charging station, and so forth. So the problem that we ran into was that it was extremely difficult to get asset financing for assets that are rather small in size, because the project finance community, which is huge in energy area or infrastructure area in general, they are focused on like big deals, one-off deals, they want to put like 50 million that way, 80 million that way. So if you are building a company in this space, so if you are a startup or scale up in this area, and your asset size is around 500,000, 1 million, so forth, it is really difficult to you could say sort of incentivize the project funds to get excited about your technology, because it's for them it's too small peanuts. It's like, and so this is the problem that we run into oftentimes, that we really couldn't find project finance entities that were fit with the companies that we had in the portfolio. And but anyway, but after I was 13 years with that company, I joined a German utility for a couple of years in Germany, and I noticed that actually there I saw the same problem, but the reason we were winning deals was that the utility could actually be the one financing those assets. And I'm like, man, if we could do this, but we could do this sort of like, outside of the utility. So when the Corona hit, so forth, I returned back to Finland, and I'm like, okay, I really don't want to do the corporate stuff, but I will start a new company, and now with the focus on project finance. And we took sort of a bit different approach. So it's not a pure finance company, but we started building a platform, a digital platform, a marketplace, really, that helps the buyers, the providers, and the investors in the small size asset space to meet sort of, first of all, to originate deal flow, and then by digitizing the projects, we're able to bring the transaction costs down, because that's one of the problems really, that why the big project funds they are not interested in investing in this space, because they feel like, okay, I'm going to spend so much time, working on this one deal, which is like €500,000, €1 million in size. It's not worth it. I better use my time where I can put like 80 million at one shot. So basically, the digital platform that helps to bring the transaction cost down, really sort of bring the projects to be the same form. You're able to pool projects and so forth. So anyway, so that's what we're building. So bringing visibility for the solution, so that the buyers and the providers meet in a better way, and that sort of generates deal flow, which we then are able to funnel into our project finance marketplace, where we then offer the access for the project developers, technology companies, and their customers to get easier access to project finance for these small
That's
size
awesome.
Projects. So
That's
that was a
awesome.
long answer, but that's what we do, and that's
Yeah.
where that came from.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, you are also building a community as well. So I
Yes,
believe
yes,
this is
absolutely.
a major point where you are helping energy infrastructure investors to invest in smaller assets.
Yeah, I mean, because
Right.
oftentimes, and it's good that you brought the word community. We actually built on our, if you go, actionenergymarket.com, we have actually a lot of community services. To be honest, we haven't really deployed them that much yet. So there's all sort of things that we've sort of it's really has concentrated more on the bringing the meetup of the buyers and the providers together, and the finance aspect of it. But we have discussion forum. We just launched a podcast in this space to bring visibility to the solutions. All sort of things. So to basically sort of engage the potential buyers, because I mean, this is really about energy efficiency and sustainability, and if you look at what's happened in the market the last couple of years, I've been excited about energy issues for 20 plus years, but most of the people could care less. But if you look
Yeah.
at sort of the world has sort of somewhat changed, so suddenly energy costs are, and energy efficiency, it also not just for sustainability reasons, but also just for saving money. This has become a major topic, not just in residential setting, but in industry and so forth. So we really sort of highlighting also these solutions within the community, so that actually brings more business, brings more buyers, because in the end it benefits us as well. The more the buyers are aware that what they could do, the more projects are generated, which we can then funnel through our finance market, and also because we're also planning to bring our own finance product there. So we sort of like growing our own funnel, and also for the other investors this way.
All right. Makes sense. So I'm not sure if you have competitors. Business nature, to me, your business nature sounds a bit different. But like, if you do have competitors, then what do you believe that sets you apart, sets your business apart from your competitors? Like, I think one of the major thing is that you are helping small business with the investors. But
Yeah, I mean,
is there
yeah.
anything else happening?
Yeah, great question. The obviously, we are not the only one in this space, but which is great. You could say the competitors in this space. First of all, most of them are in the B2C space. And they oftentimes they are focused around a certain technology, say heat pumps or solar PV. I mean, this is actually how solar PV sort of broke to the market. It was not anymore that here's the panels, here's the system, we sell it to you. But it was more like, okay, now you can take it into use as a service. It doesn't even need to be on your own roof. So I would say the solar was sort of the first one, solar as a service. How do we change that from being just technology sales into service sales? Now here in the Nordics and also elsewhere in Europe, so the same somewhat is happening around heat pumps, but this is around, one family homes, sort of smaller installations. But so, the competitors are really around certain technology in the B2C space. We are in the B2B space, and I wouldn't say that we are technology agnostic, but we are a bit sort of bigger cases. So we are not doing sort of the B2C, 10K, 20K, that sort of thing, but it's really sort of like $500,000, plus minus million or two, in that space. So B2B players that are selling to industrial clients, to large residential entities. And so I would say that's maybe and we are not, this is not around certain technology. So this is what we have in the marketplace, is that we have something what is called the solution bank. So if you are a technology company in this space, you can actually upload, your solution or technology in the solution bank, which means that you can then offer that access to your customers, to digitize your bid process and enabling for your customers an easier way, a digital way to apply for the financing. So I would say that the biggest difference is that, we are not around one technology. We're not in the B2C space. We are in a bit bigger cases, so sort of industrial scale, larger residential scale, and also bringing, as I said before, also sort of bringing general visibility. So maybe that's the biggest differences. But obviously the competitors in this space, the ones that are in B2C, I'm sure that they will eventually branch to B2B. And they will also sort of like broaden, not just do heat pumps, but do heat pumps, batteries, and solar PVs. So I'm sure that, give it a few years and we'll meet somewhere there in the middle. But for now, so we're not the only one in this space, but maybe the focus that we have is and the angle is a bit different from the others.
All right. So what's the process of acquiring new customers or retaining the current existing customers as well?
Say that again.
What's the process of acquiring new customers?
Yeah, we actually doing it two different ways, probably more than two, but because like there's nothing more difficult than starting a marketplace. I mean, so that's actually where we started in the very beginning. So marketplace between housing companies, and the solution providers, and that worked okay, but we noticed that was just way too slow, in the housing companies, how do you actually reach them? So we have actually sort of changed more the focus around the technology company. So as I described earlier, that by adding the technology company, adding their solution to the solution bank, they can already offer to their existing clients, well, why don't we do the offer request bid process in a digital way, so that the actual project is already in the cloud, which enables the buyer to an easier channel to get a financing offer. So what we offer now in Finland is green loans. So we have banking partner that is so we basically the intermediary between the buyer and the bank to for them to qualify for the green loan, which gives them better terms and so forth. So the customer acquisition at the moment is really through the technology companies that already have sort of the customer lineup. So they already have customer projects in place, and they want to close them. So they want to make sure that the customer actually gets the financing in order, because once the financing is in order, that's when they can close a deal. So that as a channel is sort of that's not originally where we started, but that's working best. But then we're doing a lot of I mean, as I said, we just started a podcast, so we have a podcast in Finnish, and we also just started a podcast in English, which is really sort of bringing sort of more the cross-border technology providers, the ones that are, say, in Sweden or Norway, and want to also offer solutions in the Finnish market. And so this is sort of like really sort of more general visibility. But also we have some partnerships in place. So we in general, we're trying to get visibility for the marketplace, not just that people would come to our marketplace, that they actually would get the visibility through the partners. But what's working best at the moment is really sort of teaming up with technology companies with ready deal flow that have the issue that they want to solve, how their customer gets the financing figured out for the project. And that's where we help you. And that's how they start using the marketplace.
All right, makes sense. Completely makes sense. So let me know a little bit about your marketing structure, how you are marketing your business.
We have various channels. I mean, the podcast is obviously one. We've been actively building a newsletter, actually 2 different newsletters, one for the Finnish market, one sort of, a global newsletter, very active in LinkedIn, building the LinkedIn audience. And then, on top of that, actually, the reason why we started the podcast, it's also a video podcast, is that, we actually get a lot of, out of the video podcast, we get a lot of material. I mean, this is probably what you get as well. So you get a lot of material that you can put through different channels. So, whether it's an upcoming episode, we put teasers, we put them through Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, the newsletter, what am I forgetting? The X. And I would say that this marketing strategy in core is really that we don't talk about ourselves. We let the providers that are, you could say that those are the stars. I mean, honestly, those are the stars in our platform, because we want to get visibility for the solutions out there, the people behind the solutions and the actual solutions. So and that way, so it's not that, here's the marketplace, come here and do business, but hey, look at these awesome solutions that help you save energy, that help you sort of like reach your sustainability goals, help in waste management, whatever it is. And, highlighting these solutions and then saying, okay, you can actually reach out to these companies through our solution bank, or obviously directly through their website or whatever. But we're trying to also this way make people aware, drive them that way to come to our service and learn about the companies in the solution bank. They can make an offer request there, receive a bid, so forth. So I would say that the marketing part of it is really sort of like general awareness, but it's driving people to take action, and that's where that's why it's called Action Energy Finance, Action Energy Market, like helping people to take action in doing. We oftentimes talk about sort of like bringing people to their comfort area, because when it comes to energy projects or infra projects, for many people, the ones that are making the decisions in companies, they are not familiar with, all the possibilities out there, what they could do. So I think it's a very human thing that if you're not in your comfort area, if you're not an energy expert, so you feel like, this is like, I leave this for the engineers or whatever, so that if you are, say that if you're the building manager, and this is sort of the problem in this area, that, oftentimes the people that are in charge of doing things, they are not the experts in knowing what are the possibilities, what are the companies out there, what are the solutions, because these get to be rather complex. So we try to lower that step by sort of introducing the solutions and making it very human. So, whether it's through the podcast, we also bringing, we've been experimenting with story prompt. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's like this sort of like, you can actually have, I love story prompt. So anyway, so we're bringing that next there. So really sort of trying to lower the step of, that, you can also ask stupid questions as a buyer, saying like, this is the process that I have. Would this fit my situation?
Yeah.
And so that's the approach, really. So elevating the ones that have the solution as stars of, not us, but these are the solutions. These are the guys. Look at this. Listen what these guys can do. And then trying to sort of nudge that to obviously it's between the companies and the buyers, but giving them the tools of possibly closing that deal, which then generates the project deal flow that is then interesting for the project finance market and so forth. So in our service, it's not just sort of like project investments. It's also, you can just find a consultant for a particular need, and so it's so it doesn't need to be that you're selling a new type of revolutionary battery, but it could be like energy efficiency service or energy janitor for the so there's really different levels of services and products available there.
Completely makes sense. So, can you please share the most recent challenge you have faced, or a challenge that you are facing at this time?
Well, I think the challenge really, as I sort of like already described it here, I guess, but it's really, how do you reach the buyer? Like, how do you, it's like one of these things that it's really, there's a long way to go from that, people know that I should be doing something to get energy savings, to that you actually nail down the right solution for your particular need. So what I'm trying to say that, reaching the decision maker in a company or in an industrial setting or a real estate, like for example, the housing companies in Finland. I mean, this is probably very unique to Finland, but the apartment buildings are formed as housing companies, and people own, their apartments within the housing company, and so you actually own a share in that housing company, and these are the actual decision makers. So you could have like, you have a housing company, but you have 50 shareholders, and they want to switch to ground heating, for example. That's how do you actually reach the housing company board member who's been assigned to sort of like look into the heating system change, because oftentimes there, reaching that person is rather challenging. And in between, there's property managers, and the property managers, they basically they're sort of the gatekeepers in there, but they only do something if the housing company chairman of the board sort of says that, okay, now we need to sort of, we're gonna go all in and sort of switch from district heating to sort of ground heat. So really sort of reaching the non-expert buyers, whether it's in residential setting, whether it's in the industrial setting. It may sound funny that even in the industrial setting, it may be the non-expert, but if you in charge of, like, if you're the facility manager, if you sort of the, you someone who was supposed to basically sort of like, take actions in reducing emissions in that industrial company, even these people, they don't really always know that. How do we switch if we have, say that, if there's like steam recovery, heat recovery, what are the, what would actually fit in our setting? Does that, complicate the manufacturing process or whatever? So it's a really sort of, there's a lot of, a lot of consulting, a lot of experts, a lot of sort of, a lot of people on the way. So I would say that is the most difficult thing. How do you actually reach the buyer? The providers that's an easier piece of cake. I mean, I'm not saying that piece of cake, but they're in the process of, selling. They have their solution, there's the technology, so forth. But it's really sort of reaching out the buyers. So that's why, this, what we do now, that we team up with the technology companies, because they have already somewhat managed to do that. But yeah, that's the biggest challenge, really.
Yeah, makes sense. Completely makes sense. So, Tarja, let us know how people can reach you. What is your website address, and if you want to share your social media handle?
Yeah, the easiest way is actionenergymarket.com. So from there, because we have a local marketplace in Finland, which is also, it's in Finnish and English. So you don't need to be a Finnish speaker to check it out. But there's also, you can get to our global marketplace. Then our finance marketplace, it's in actionenergyfinance24.com. But these are all interlinked. But, actionenergymarket.com. That's the best way to get started. There's also, from there you can find, or if you go even to say Instagram, Action Energy Market, in TikTok we are in Action Energy Market, and but I mean, also a good place is to just look me up in LinkedIn. So with my name, it's a rather unique name, so there's not too many people with the same name. So, because I mean, I share there a lot about, like what we're building. You have the links to the podcast interviews, and we have a link tree there, so you can sort of that's probably if you want to get like, what are all the things these guys are doing, to our YouTube channel, so forth. So my LinkedIn profile. So
All right.
that's the place.
All right. Thanks, Tarja. In fact, I really enjoyed the conversation and it was helpful and I believe informative as well. So thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.